This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We've just concluded a hell of a night of action here in Newcastle. With me, promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, one place to start, main event, Robbie Davies Jr., Lewis Ritson. You struggled to find a better opening few rounds in the whole country this year. Talk to me about that fight.
And probably closing round, or particularly the 12th round as well. I thought both guys boxed out of their skin. I thought the scorecards were a little bit wide. The right man won. But, I thought Robbie Davies boxed out of his skin. And I thought Lewis Ritson up at 140 just had so much more in him. There was a time in the fight, I can't remember what round, I started to think, well, you know what, maybe Robbie Davies, because after 4 rounds I was thinking, I don't think Robbie Davies can stand up to this assault. And then after maybe 6 or 7 rounds I was thinking, do you know what, if he starts to step on him here, can Ritson handle the pace? And he did. He had that in his tank because up at 140, because he prepared right. Neil Fannon's done a great job. I just thought it was a brilliant fight. On a sad week for boxing, those two reminded us of why we love this great sport, and they're credit to each other. I know Robbie Davies will be gutted, but he'll come again, and he deserves a lot of respect because he came here. Do you know what I mean? So he took the challenge. He believed he could win here. He came here, and I don't feel like his stock is affected tonight after that great performance.
Most of us ringside had Lewis winning. I think that was the right result. Fair to say, Robbie Davies, as you mentioned, did play his part in an unbelievable fight. Close fight. That said, do you think it was a culmination of everything tonight? About a year ago, we saw Lewis Ritson have his big chance and get beat full short against Patera. I was speaking to Neil and Lewis earlier in the week about the lessons learned from that, not thinking about the St James's Park or what could be next, and also the strength and conditioning and everything else that's gone on, going up to 140 pounds. Was it just a mix of everything tonight?
To be honest with you, coming here, it's very difficult for someone who hasn't had the Olympic experience, that World Championship experience, to all of a sudden turn up at this arena, sell last time, whatever it was, 7,000, 7,500, and just keep performing under pressure all the time. So he learnt so much from that defeat, Tonight he sold the whole thing out, and he put together a really, really mature performance. He boxed really well. He fought really well. He boxed well on the inside. He used his jab remarkably well. He moved much better than he normally moves, and his engine was brilliant. And I just thought it was such a brilliant display from both guys, and a really technically sound fight with a load of guts as well. And it's a big night for Lewis Ritson.
Lewis and team told me they wouldn't be getting carried away ahead of the fight this weekend. I think they may well be getting carried away now. Do you think they have a right to be keeping a close eye on next weekend's unification clash?
I'm saying to get yourself down to the O2 and sit yourself ringside and tell them you want it at St James's Park. I mean, why not? He has got a couple of options now. To come back here in February or March and have another fight against a good name, or try and land that mega fight at St James's Park. I really feel like it's ready. I feel like that fight's ready. And that would be a historic buzz, for a city like this to create a World Championship fight for one of their own at St James's Park. That gives me a big hard-on as a promoter, and I have to be honest, that's what I'm in the game for. So, but we'll be led by Neil Fannon and MTK and Phil Jeffries, who will tell us the speed they want to go. Maybe they want another fight before they do that. He can do what he wants, You don't want to keep coming here, and sort of putting on a naff fight, because the fans don't deserve that. They want to see proper fights, and they saw it tonight. But after a war like that, you wouldn't begrudge him a little nice one in February or March.
Now a fight you and I tried not to jinx earlier in the week when we discussed it. Cheeseman-Fitzgerald. You said you didn't want to go on record and say it would be a fight for the ages after the lessons we learned from Murray Rosado. That said, intriguing fight, competitive fight. Ted came out early doors and sort of bewildered Scott in a way with that sort of back foot style. Scott came on strong, really close fight. How did you see it, first of all?
Well, firstly, it wasn't a fight for the ages, but it was a really intriguing fight. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing through 8 rounds, where Ted Cheeseman put on a boxing clinic. I mean, when has he ever done that before? He looked like at one point he was going to no-mass Scott Fitzgerald. He just looked like he was bewildered. And I had Cheeseman up 4 rounds after the 8th round. But I gave Scott Fitzgerald, I think, every round, 9, 10, 11 and 12, because Ted got tired, he pressed the action continuously, and I had to fight a draw. I felt that if anyone was going to win the fight, it would be Ted Cheeseman. But, could you have seen it for Fitzgerald? Yeah, by 1. I didn't have it by 3 rounds to Fitz. I thought, it's tough to give it that kind of scorecard. But he did press the action all night, and maybe the judges didn't like Ted Cheeseman running around the ring and boxing off the back foot, but he did put on a clinic. I mean, I thought Ted Cheeseman was brilliant. And I think he deserves a rematch, to be honest with you. I know everyone wants Fowler-Fitzgerald, and that is a fight we've got to look very closely at if Fowler can win on November 23rd. But, Scott's got to be better. He wasn't good. He knows he wasn't good enough tonight. And, Scott's like that. They call him Madman for a reason. He was turned into a madman for the Fowler fight, and then he all of a sudden, now he's a father. He's gone, all a bit more quiet, and we need a little bit of that madman back in him. But he's won the British title tonight. I'll say he was lucky to win the title, but it was a very, very close fight.
The general consensus before this was loser will face Kieran Conway, winner will face Anthony Fowler. You spoke of the possibility of a rematch there. Yeah. Do you think that, in a way, could actually be the most in-demand fight of all of those fights around that sort of domestic level now?
I think the Fitzgerald-Fowler one is always going to be... It's got that spite, and it's obviously Preston against Liverpool. Anthony's sort of Marmite. You love him or you hate him. And it's a really, really good fight. And the styles gel 10 times out of 10 in that fight. Tonight, you got a good fight, but you didn't get a war, and I thought it was going to be a war. By the way, if Ted would have boxed like in a war, I believe he would have lost the fight. As it happens, he still lost the fight, but it was you could have argued that he won the fight. So he was really disappointed. I haven't seen him yet, but he stormed out the ring and he weren't happy because he felt like he bossed the fight. But I do feel like he gave the fight away because he gave the judges the opportunity in the closing rounds to score it to Scott Fitzgerald, and he was the one pressing the action.
It's mad to say, after all the good fights we've seen tonight, that one of the most captivating fights of the evening was a 4-round float. Joe Law's never a quiet moment with him. Admittedly, not a perfect performance from him, but electric atmosphere, and certainly turned a few heads, whether in the ring or in his post-fight interview.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. I just spoke to him outside. I said, look, this is all great, and you're an unbelievable character, and everybody loves you. I love you. But you're going to get beat if you fight like that as you step up the levels. He's trading, there was times when he was trading with that guy tonight. That guy could punch. It wasn't the best technically, but when they were trading, you're just tossing a coin in the air. You don't need to be doing that. But the problem is, if you take that edge away from him, that excitement, that's what people love about him. So he knows he's got to improve. Joe Laws isn't as mad as he makes out. He's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing. And the line of the night was, Devin Haney, let's go motherfucker. Live on Sky. I'm sitting there watching him, what the fuck? The corporate guys at Sky oh my God, what was... Sky have actually got to realise, I think Robbie Davis swore as well in the post-fight, it's God, this is the fight game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know. But, got to follow the rules.
Martin Bacoli took out the kingpin Kevin Johnson. That's probably the last we see of Kevin Johnson, we'd all imagine. Impressive nonetheless. Is he ready for a big fight now? Let's talk him being out in Monaco.
Definitely. Look, I think Kevin Johnson, you're right, he should call it a day now. But he still, went 10 rounds with Dubois recently. He went 8 rounds with a really good undefeated heavyweight a couple of weeks ago. So to get him out of there is impressive. Bacoli, although I'm his promoter, I'm also his agent because he doesn't have a fan base in Manchester of thousands upon thousands, so he will fight anyone. So, anyone with ESPN, anyone with BT, Daniel Dubois, December 21, yes please. We're there. We're cheaper than Dave Allen. I was joking with Dave Allen about it tonight. But he's ready. He's ready now to have all those fights. It's going to be a really exciting fight. He's a big guy, he can punch, he's skillful, and he's ready. He's ready to take those chances and roll the dice.
You mentioned Dave Allen there. I've just finished interviewing Dave outside. He was telling me that, we've seen all these public Dubois negotiations. He's been coming back to you and talking about different options and sort of seeking advice as well, in a way.
He needs advice because he don't know what he's doing. And he's been lucky to have me post probably Luis Ortiz fight because at that stage he was an opponent. Didn't know Dave Allen. He was available. He was a Brit. He got in. He got paid. And then after that, I sort of took him under my wing a little bit, and I've looked after him. I've paid him great money. He's made a lot of money. I've given him opportunity after opportunity. So I said to him, if you ever need my advice, I'm here. Doesn't mean you shouldn't take other fights with other promoters, but ask me. Don't make the decision yourself because you're a plonker. You don't know what you're talking about. So when this fight came up with Dubois, we looked at the offer. I know that they need someone on that show, right? You can't get another Ghanaian who's had all his fights in Accra, right? You need someone because he's not selling tickets. Daniel Dubois, really good fighter, dangerous fighter, not rating. So why they haven't made Daniel Dubois against Joe Joyce, I have no idea. No idea. Joe Joyce and Sam Jones tell the world they'll fight anyone. Daniel Dubois is saying 100% I'll take that fight now. Why isn't that fight happening? But anyway. But they need Dave Allen. They need a name. So I felt like the money that was offered for a guy in Dave's position who's not really ready for that fight, who's not really 100%, who won't be 100%, has got to be significant. And it wasn't. And it was the same money he got for David Price. And by the way, he thought he'd win David Price fight. He doesn't, at this stage in his life, think that he will win a Daniel Dubois fight. So what's the point? Unless the money's just too good to turn down, and it's not.
With that said, you said he probably doesn't believe he could win that Daniel Dubois fight. Do you understand the backlash that came with this public negotiation? People saying that regardless of the the financial aspect, they just wouldn't want to see him face Daniel Dubois.
They should never have made an offer to Dave Allen for that fight. They know better than that. They know that a guy who's had his mental illnesses and has publicly come out and said, I'm not mentally or physically fit to box a 6-rounder in Newcastle, shouldn't be fighting a 12-rounder against Daniel Dubois. But they need something. So they ignored that and they made the offer. The backlash is because everybody feels like they should know better. They shouldn't be offering Dave Allen that fight, right? And at the end of the day, they don't represent Dave Allen. It's almost like not their problem, but it's kind of like it's Dave Allen. We've all got to look after him. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't want to see him take that fight because he needs to have some kind of run before he takes that fight. I'm not talking about 10k. I'm talking about a run of wins. And just getting back. But look, at the moment, he's happy. He appears to be, which is the only thing I really care about for Dave Allen. So I said to him, Dave, those kind of paydays for that level, they're going to be there next year. Blimey, all you've got to do is get a win. You could fight in America, you could fight Dubois again next year, but don't do it when you're not ready, when you're just doing it to take the money. So,
a couple more things before I let you go, Eddie. Last night, Beterbiev Gvozdyk.
Yeah.
A lot of hype among the boxing fans. Great fight for us to watch. Unfolded that way, Beterbiev cemented his place as one of the sport's pound for pound's hardest punchers. If we weren't already aware of that, I spoke to you earlier in the week and asked if you'd be willing to put Bivol in with the winner. Is that a fight you'd be eager to see still?
$1,000,000%. And by the way, it's a really tough fight. But that's what Bivol needs. Bivol needs a proper fight. And he's a beast of a puncher. And listen, Callum Smith nearly knocked him out. If Callum Smith would have jumped on him after he put him down, I believe he could have won that fight. So it was, I think it shows you how good and how hard Callum Johnson is. But it's a good win. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen the highlights. And it just looks like he's just steamrolled him in the end. But a close fight around him.
Final word, Eddie. Some great super lightweight action this evening. A nice amuse-bouche ahead of next weekend.
Well, next week I think it's hard to follow Robbie Davies Jr. against Lewis Ritson. I really believe you'll see it next week. I think Progress against Taylor is just going to be a brilliant fight. 12 rounds. I think it will go 12 or very late in the fight. I think it will be brutal. I think it will be high-paced, high energy. It's a unification fight. And then you've got Chisora Price as well, which, blimey, absolutely anything could happen in that one. Burns against Selby, Conor Benn, Coley against Ngabu. It's an absolute monster card, and hopefully we get another great night at the O2.
Eddie, pleasure. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Mate, thank you.